All right, guys, welcome to the video. Anthony Special here with Hawkeye Traders. Hope everyone's having a wonderful day. Want to recap this NASDAQ base that was built early in the morning here and what it transpired to provide shortly after the breakout. So I want to first talk about identifying the low. I think that's super important. In addition to that, I want to talk about the high volume surges, and I want to talk about the wide bars that we offer here at Hawkeye, because I do think that it makes for the trader much easier to recognize particular areas in the market that are really meaningful. Okay, whether it's a reversal, whether it's continuation, whether it's whatever it may be providing. Of course, each situation is unique in itself, but the consistency that exists between volume and price action is there no matter what. Okay. What you have to do, obviously, is piece the context together, but we make it very easy to do that because we don't just provide you with the indicators, we provide you with an opportunity to understand and master the use of volume and price action through our mastery course and our library of endless hours of resources. So let's dive in here. I want to very first take a look here at the 830 candle, okay? I want you to notice that for the time, we did print an ultra high volume radar dot. For the time, you could see that we did push and close higher on this particular bar. We did also plot what is called a wide bar. So this is designed to draw the trader's attention to say, hey, listen, there's something significant transpiring here. You need to now decipher what that is. More often than not, guys, and this is a lesson I had to learn really, really hard. It took me a really long time. The better trading opportunity comes to the trader that's willing to wait for it to come, rather than trying to rush into just hitting that buy or sell order, okay? I know that requires a bunch of discipline and consistency and experience to do, but the only way you're going to do that is by putting the time in. Right? You got to put the time in under real market conditions to understand what's happening, when, where, and why. So we pull into this low, and of course, guys, listen, I'm a huge believer of kind of looking left, right? So let's look at the overnight action here. We can kind of talk about this as well. I'm going to drop a few lines on the chart because I do think some of it is certainly meaningful. So the overnight kind of session high here, you can see we have a level right there, all right? We also have this kind of pull through that level right there. So I want you to see, this is where we break the session high right here, and then we pull back, we break back below the session high, and we put in this little low, and then we'll once again kind of regain this area. So these are a couple, to me at least, significant areas that I want to look at, especially because they correlate with where my price action and volume is giving me a reason to pay close attention. So again, overnight high, the break back below, you can see we recovered from it very quickly, and here we are back to what we were focused on. Now I start trading in the morning early. Why? Because more often than not, there's a great opportunity long before the opening bell even comes into play. I do trade through the opening bell, I do trade through the morning session as well, but I also am a big fan of pre-market, okay? Pre-market will sometimes, more often than not, set the stage for an awesome move. So I'm paying attention to what happens, right? I'm a big fan of looking left. So I want you to notice those two lines that I dropped on the chart based on prior price action, not the price action we're looking at, complement where these wide bars and ultra high buying volume transpired. So you could see those two lines that I dropped off based on the price action there to the left, and I'll zoom this in, give it a second, it will correct, does almost perfectly capture the wick here of this specific candle. All right, so ultra high buying volume, I got a wide bar here. Price seems to be respecting some prior price action based on the wicks. So I'm going to zoom this in. I'm trying to just get it to expand here a little bit so it's a little bit easier to see. There you go. All right, so we pop back off here, conveniently where prior price action dictated response to. We got ultra high buying volume, at least for that point in time. Price comes back up, and we enter into a period of what? Consolidation, congestion, there's a lot of words you can call it. Sideways market, I call it pour yourself a cup of coffee. because this is not price action that I have any interest in trading in. But I am interested in seeing what is transpiring there, because it will likely set the stage for when the opportunity comes about. Okay, so we, again, at 9:30, the opening bell transpires for the US market. The NASDAQ places another ultra high buying volume wide bar here, now with an even larger wick. Okay, but all along we're still respecting the first one that transpired at 8:30. Guys, it's so important to be able to say, oh, you can't make decisions on just one little nuance in the market. You got to create context, and through volume and price action, that context is achievable, right? So what am I waiting for? I'm waiting for a close above the wick of this candle, because I know the wick of this candle is providing support. I know that because it was retested right here and retested right here. So 3 occasions we have tested the wick of the original ultra high buying volume based off of prior price action that dictated, support and resistance during the overnight session. And then we get a strong close above the high, particularly of this candle. Why am I focused on that candle? That's where the highest buying volume transpired. That's where the wide bar transpired. That's where we got the red ultra high volume dot, radar dot down here. Okay, so this is very meaningful to me. So now we get a close above it. For me, I am normally not the guy that buys the close above. I am normally the guy that looks for the retest. Okay, why? The retest provides normally 2 things. 1, confirmation. Okay, we retest, continue to close above it. That's confirmation to me. And number 2, often it provides a area that you can place your stop with much less risk. Okay, because at the end of the day, guys, if you are not conscious about the risk you're taking or the risk you're putting on the market, sooner or later you're going to get bit, and when you get bit, it's going to hurt. And that's not what I want to see transpire to you. So I always advocate assessing the risk first, and then if the risk makes sense, then and only then do you put the risk on in the market. So for me, rather than trying to risk this whole big candle here, placing my stop essentially all the way down here, I just wait for the retest. You see this small candle comes in, it opens, it pushes back to this level very specifically that I'm watching, the wick high of that wide bar, and then we push back up and we close right here. So what am I looking to do? Price has just confirmed that we've broken above an area of consolidation that has been building ultra high buying volume. So I want to get long here. Okay, where do I want to place my stop? Right under this little candle where it tested support. I don't want to risk a whole bunch, right? Like, I'm only looking to risk a super tiny amount. Now, this may not be a super tiny amount to you guys, and I'm going to say that only relative to the market that we're looking at. This is the NASDAQ, right? 50 ticks on the NASDAQ is nothing, right? Because it's really about 10 or 12 ticks on the S&P 500. So some of you are at the level in your career where you feel comfortable trading the NASDAQ. Some of you are not, okay? But when you see how this plays out, you're going to go, well, 50 ticks is not so big of a deal when we're running, something like 500 ticks, right, to the upside. Now, can you guarantee that that's going to provide that every time? Of course not. But when the NASDAQ runs and the NASDAQ moves, it is very significant, and it's typically very quickly. Large amounts of profit can be acquired in a very, very short period of time. So, in this instance, and again, I'm just using basically what the market provided here, and you could see we even had a kind of an awkward double top over here. We pushed through ever so slightly and then failed, but we did run over 500 ticks. Again, it comes down to, can you identify what and why price is doing, when and where, and then can there be an opportunity that you can capitalize on? For me, I don't trade consolidation, okay? I just don't. And when consolidation is broken, I'm very specifically looking at the areas of the candles that have the highest volume. I'm looking for the retest. Now, if I was being aggressive, I could have bought the retest here and thrown a wide stop on it and then adjusted the stop. Okay, that's being very aggressive, right? And then I would have had very little drawdown. Or I could have simply waited for this candle to close, like I demonstrated, get in the market, just get a stop underneath there. You can see the market impulses, it corrects, takes a huge impulse. And this is a short period of time, guys. These are 5-minute candles. So this is from 10 a.m. into basically 11:10. So about 70 minutes, an hour and 10 minutes. You know, this thing just continued to give you more and more and more and more money. So how did we identify it? It all stems back to, we were looking for that ultra high volume. We were looking for the wide bars. We were able to put in context prior price action, right? That prior price action happened to very nicely correlate with where the ultra high buying volume came into play based on the volume radar, based on the Hawkeye volume, based on the wide bar. We were able to put a thesis together of, hey, we have 2 ultra high buying volume candles. We have this consolidative state. We're just simply waiting to break above the consolidation or the congestion. And you could see once that transpired, we closed above, confirmed with a retest of that level, the market never looked back. So the question is volume and price action at the forefront of your trade plan? I don't know, but it should be. Okay, and I'm only telling you that from my own personal experience. You may go, Anthony, that's not what I want. Okay, and that's fine. But I can tell you from somebody who has tried everything else out there, studied every method that you can approach the market, all right, over the past 13 years of my life, I can tell you that if you are not volume and price action forward in your trade plan, with risk management being your very, very first and foremost priority, trading is not going to be the best experience for you. What you're going to see is your account do this. Okay? Even if it climbs, eventually you're going to hit something and it's going to tank because you're going to feel overconfident because you're missing those tiny little pieces. And again, this is just my humble opinion from my experience. I've trained many, many traders to trade intraday, swing trade, position trade, and it all stems down to the methods, at least the analytical part, comes from volume and price action. Okay? So, of course, they're psychological. Of course, you have to execute the trade. Of course, you have to be consistent. Of course, you have to be disciplined. But in order to employ all those things, you need to know when, where, and why to do that. And that is what the Hawkeye software and mastery is going to teach you and allow you to see. As you can see, it prints super easy on my screen. Now, if I just simply hide all my drawings, what am I left with? Volume paint bar. I'm left with the wide bar, I'm left with the Hawkeye volume, and the Hawkeye radar dot, because that's ultimately all I need. It tells me when, where, why I should be looking at the market so I can have an understanding of what's transpiring right now, and then I can build context around that about what may transpire next and give me the edge I need in the market to put the probabilities in my favor of being profitable. So, with that being said, I invite you to look below this video. There are some links. I encourage you to click on them. I encourage you to consume the content. I encourage you to reach out to myself or my Hawkeye Concierge team. I encourage you to revisit your trade plan and say, am I really focused on volume and price action from the analysis standpoint? Am I really focused on that risk-reward factor on my primary standpoint when I approach the market? Because if you're not, guys, I do strongly encourage that you take another look. If your results are not what you want them to be, okay, there is an endless amount of money that can be taken from this market every single day. But you have to do it with consistency and discipline around an approach to the market that is risk forward. And if you can do that, you can be literally unstoppable. It is no different than printing money. Okay? So I want you to dig deep into that thought process as you're consuming the content below this video, and I want you to feel very welcome to reach out to myself and my team. Okay, I will leave my personal information down there below as well. There is no harm in having a conversation. We can speak via email, on the phone, whatever it takes to help you figure out if this is going to help you grow as a trader. Because if you stop growing as a trader, just like anything else in life, you start regressing. So my goal is to help you continue to grow through the educational process, through the indicators to help it print more clearly on the screen so you have insight to what is happening, when, where, and why. You can understand that market context and employ that trade plan with a great deal of discipline, keeping that risk low, keeping your probability of being successful high. If you enjoyed this video, if you learned something, I ask you to simply like it. If you'd like, leave a comment below. I'll respond to it personally. If we can do anything for you, please don't hesitate to reach out. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, I encourage you to do so you don't miss the next video. Guys, this is Anthony Speciale with Hawkeye Traders. I appreciate your time today. God bless, and I wish you a beautiful and wonderful day.